What's going on, everybody? My name is Israel, as always, and thank you for tuning in for another video. So in today's video, as you can see, it's different than the usual format. Today, I got someone that I've known for actually over 20 years. I know it sounds crazy because we're not even both 30 yet. And we know each other, school, all that, grew up together. So it's someone I know deeply and someone I want to have this conversation with and have this first video with someone else on the channel. It was my plan to always kind of switch it up, but this is a guy that's pretty well versed in, finances. He's worked in multiple industries. We're both in Canada here. He's a very, he's good at what he does. So I like to see a different perspective, someone else who has a different point of view. And this is really why I wanted to bring him up on this channel. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my friend. His name is Kelvin. And why don't you just kind of introduce yourself, give maybe a brief overview of who you are, what you do if you want to say, and we'll get the show after that going.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it. It's definitely an honor to be on your channel. You picked me to have this video up with you. I've worked in multiple industries. Well, I would say a few, right? After school, I went into marketing, and then when COVID happened, I switched it over to sales. And then after marketing, I was in mortgages, selling mortgages full time. Did that for like 4 years. Right now I'm in the middle of a transition. I'm going into the tech world. So I work for a software company. So pretty much they help with people management, human resource, as well as health and safety procedure. So that's the company that I work for right now. And I'm very excited to do this video with you. And I'm looking forward to our conversation.
There you go, guys. So as you can see, he just kind of gave overview of who he is. And like he said, he's working like the sales industry, the tech industry. So it's like someone that would probably have a little bit of a good idea about, the finance world. So that's why I thought it was a good idea to bring him up. So, So what we're going to do next, the format of the video is basically going to be like, I have a few questions written out. I'm going to ask the questions. He's going to give his take. I'm going to give my take. And then after that, we're just going to freestyle and let the conversation flow. So, number one, the first question is, how long ago did you start investing? And what was the thing that got you into it?
So I've always known about investing. However, when I first opened like my first Wealth Simple account, it would have been during COVID. Literally after the conversation happened with you, you telling me about Bitcoin, telling me about the stock market. So I opened up a Wealth Simple account during that time. I bought some stocks. I remember I bought like Air Canada, transportation stocks and whatnot, just because they were down and they'll eventually go up. But obviously life happens. I eventually withdraw the money that I invested. However, I did pick it up again more recently. I would say I would pick it up, like 5 months ago, ideally. So it's still very fresh. The reason why is because like this time around I wanted to take my time with it and be more committed with my investing. So I first picked up a book, and that book is stock investing for dummies. So through that, I've been learning how to invest, and essentially, I'm still in the very, very beginning stage of investing, but I'm very excited to see where this takes me.
Great stuff. So a part of my question. So it was what got you into investing. So was it like an article that popped up? Was it actually our conversation that got you into it, or was it like because you said you always knew about investing? So how early on? Like was it in high school? You seen some investing books or things like that? Because I know for me personally, I never even knew anything about investing till like I was 21, 22.
So I've always heard the word investing, right? I never knew how to go about it with investing. So with the stock market, obviously people talk about it, like you hear it in the news, you see it in social media. Like I would say, even when I was like going through my business school, I've always had a feeling that I would have to learn how investing works, and I know it's combined with the stock market. It goes hand in hand. Yeah, so I've always told myself that like I need to be able to understand how the stock market work, how investing work. So through school, through me being inspired and being inspired in becoming a businessman, I've always had that desire. The conversation with you during COVID, it definitely sparked it, right? It made me take action afterwards. And then I did slow down and did not continue. However, more recently, like the 5 months ago, the reason why really really got me into it and created that spark was just more of like me wanting more for myself, right? Everybody reaches that point in their life where like, do I want to stay the same or do I want more? And ideally, once you get to that point in your life, determining how, I would guess, desperate or how much you truly want it, then you put in all of your effort in learning and trying to have a better life for yourself. So yeah, essentially that's the moment that I had, and it was able to create that spark in me for me to be able to like go in 100%. Yeah, I've been I'm listening to an audiobook right now. I've been talking to a few people about stock market and how investing work. So through that, like, I'm learning, and my knowledge is getting deeper through having conversations.
No, that's great to hear. Great info. Very eye-opening on his part, the way he got into it. And for me, now I'm going to share, when I started and what got me into it. So for me, I never even knew anything about investing. Like, not a single thing. Because for me growing up, the way investing sounded to me was like you start a business and then the money you put into the business, you can make that grow. And that's basically your money growing, and that's an investment. But like things like stocks, really like real estate, Forex or crypto, like I never knew about that until one summer. This guy that I worked for, he brought it up to me, and then that just led into a rabbit hole. And I started with stocks first, and then crypto, and then I started just diving more and more, just watching endless amount of YouTube videos after another and after another, nonstop. So that's kind of how I started. And when I started, I've said it multiple times on this channel, it was 2019, yes, the summer of 2019. So it's approaching like 6 years. So I had like little pauses in between, but I really picked it back up about a year and a half ago when I kind of got a little bit of finances under control to where I could dive back into it. So that's the story on my end. And yeah, ever since then, I've been kind of hooked. So we're going to move on to the second question. So the second question is, what's 3 biggest lessons you've learned so far once you started taking investing seriously?
three biggest lessons.
Yeah.
Wow, three is a lot. So the biggest one is that you, like, when somebody tells you that they invest and they do stock, like they invest in the stock market and they've been doing it for a while, it doesn't necessarily mean they're successful in it, right? Just because they understand how it works and what to do doesn't necessarily mean that they are making profit and they're maximizing the opportunity.
Facts.
In the book that I read, Stock Investing for Dummies, it was sharing how, like, it's sharing, like, the people who follow the crowd, right? Like, when you follow the crowd, you're just following the hype, right? So there's definitely a lot of, like, work involved in investing, meaning that you have to do a lot of, like, research, you have to know what you're investing into, as well as believe in the company. That's the only way you can truly have confidence in the stocks that you're holding. So with that being said, like, you know how when they say, like, in terms of, like, in the economy, like, there's only like 1% of the population who are rich, right? So it's very similar with stock investing. Like, only 1% of out of the investors in the game are truly earning profit and they truly understand how it works. So that tells you that it does involve a lot of work, you know, with research and knowing what you're doing. So that was one big lesson that I learned, that not everybody truly understands it, right? It's definitely a personal journey where, like, you have to be able to, like, take the initiative, read books, network, talk to others, and yeah, so that's one. Not everybody knows what they're doing. Second one that I can think of off the top of my mind is people tend to overcomplicate investing, right? Like, when you get too in deep in it, they have, like, so many stocks. They have, you know, they do different plays, different strategies, and essentially, like, with me, like, you know, reading content about investing, you only need one strategy, right? Once you find out one strategy that works and you're making money from it, just repeat and rinse. Repeat and rinse. So, you know, that's the stage that I'm in right now. I'm in the stage of, like, okay, what's my strategy? How am I gonna make this work for me, right? I'm beginning to understand, like, the terminologies, how to think like an investor. So now just more of, like, okay, I have to make this machine work. So that's the second one. You only need one strategy to really make money. Third one.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you can't think of a third one, it's all good.
No
Because I know
problem.
you said 3 is a lot, so I don't want to stress you right now in the video. I want you to, you know, be cool during the video.
No problem. Yeah, we can go to the next question then.
Alright, well, I'm going to answer it on my end. But yeah, as you guys can see, guys, for him, basically number 1 was not everyone who's investing has been successful, right? So you really got to go deep into it. And then number 2, the way I understood it is people overcomplicate investing, right? They try 100 different strategies, right? Like, you know, don't stress yourself, right? So for me, I was thinking while he was talking, number 1 would be patience, right? It takes time. Most investments, it's not an overnight flip. It's not get rich today. It's not 4 ways you can make 100 million by next week. Number 2, it's emotions. So, you know, emotions can make you make dumb decisions. number 3 would be do your own research. So self-learn, self-teach, not self-teach, but like, do your own research, dive into the books, dive into the videos, do the courses, whatever you need to do, but you need to know what you're doing yourself. Unless you're just, gonna say, hey man, help a brother out, just take my money, do what you want with it, but make me some money. That's a different story. But at the end of the day, that's always kind of risky. So I'm gonna dive into each one real quick. So number 1, like patience, right? It takes time. Most of these investments, they're not overnight flips, right? Like let's say, for example, real estate. Real estate, we were actually talking earlier or yesterday, I was saying most of these real estate properties, you want to hold at least 5 years if you're really, really short on time, but 10 years ideally, because that's really when you start to like see some gains in the properties. Because we could have COVID 1 year and the property dives through the floor, and you bought it at 300,000, now it's 250,000, and you're sweating, you're like, oh man, I need my money back, I need to go on this trip, I need to buy a new whip, things like that. But like, you need to just hold on that money on the side, and over time it's gonna come back. Number 2, like emotions. Like this is the biggest thing, especially if you do more like day trading, swing trading with like stocks and crypto. You're gonna be tied to your emotions and your money, because you're gonna feel when things go up and down. All right. And then obviously number 3 is like do your own research, because like you said, it's not everyone that's online, that's on Instagram flexing, saying, oh yeah, I just bought a new Lambo, this is my Airbnb, that is successful. And you shouldn't take all their advice just point blank, period. So we're gonna go on to question number 3. So question number 3 is, what do you think is the best investments right now for the average person? And what do you think the future of investing looks like? So this question, I'm going to start it off and I'm going to answer it. So the first part, what do you think is the best investments right now for the average person? I would say it all depends on your situation and how much money you have. And I know people are going to be like, oh, bro, like that's so general. But the reason why I say that is because like, let's just give the average person, right? I would say diversify a little bit, but not too much. Because if you put like your eggs in a bunch of different baskets, it's too spread out to where you might not keep track. But I would say still the best investments though for the average person would be like stocks and real estate. And number 3 would be like their own business. I wouldn't really get into like super long-term investments heavy, because a lot of people are impatient. So something that you can kind of see results right away and try to see if you can make some side income, that would be a great thing. So and then also, what do you think of the future of investing looks like? I think crypto is just going to get bigger, and I think the online world is going to get bigger, like, e-commerce. So you got to know really how to use these phones. You got to know how to market online, like maybe sell clothes online. Like my brother, we were talking yesterday, he opened like an online clothing reselling business, right? So if you can do that, like you're going to be ahead of the race, because yeah, you can like sell in person. Yeah, you can network in person. Yeah, you can have a store in person, things like that. But we see right now, like things like Amazon, these big websites online, they're big for a reason. So that's my point of view on that. So I'm going to pass it over to Calvin. We'll see what he thinks. So just so you remember, the first part of the question is, what do you think is the best investments right now for the average person?
Ideally, like the best of the best investment, I would say, is investing in you, invest in yourself, right? I know it is very cliche to say, and very general, right? But you know, hear the words and try to think of what it means to you. But in a more practical sense, what is the best investment for an average person? I would say ETF, right? Like ETF are ideally very safe, right? And consistently you're making anywhere from like minimum 5 to 10% every year, guarantee. So as long as every 2 weeks or every month you're putting a little bit in there in the ETF, that's the that is the best and the most simple strategy that you can use to allow your money to grow. And you can also invest in the index, right? It doesn't have to be anything too complicated. The most popular one is
Vanguard.
Vanguard, right?
Yeah.
They have an SP 500, right? So that ETF is ideally like the best one. There's many ETF, but ETF is ideally like the safest way to go. If you don't know much about investing, and if you just want to put your money to grow. And in regards to the future of investing, the future of investing, I definitely see it growing, right? Like there's going to be more investors, because the internet is becoming more accessible everywhere, and as well as with the with the platform of having like YouTube and Instagram is worldwide, right? And there's so much information out there, and people are able to access that information, whether they're in Africa, India, or South America. Them having access to this information definitely it's gonna pique their interest in becoming investors. So I definitely see the number of players will grow. Crypto will definitely get really huge, and yeah, and it's definitely it's gonna get a lot more profitable, especially with what Donald Trump is doing. Him really pushing like all these huge corporations, and giving them tax breaks and literally promoting them on the government platform. So I definitely see the market getting bigger, and people are going to be making a lot more money. Yeah.
Facts. And he brought up something very important: investing in yourself. And that's something like really I did miss. And I would add that on top because, like, the more I learn about investing and I grow, I just realize how important it is to invest in yourself. Because for me, like, now I look at money differently, right? Like, okay, I could go all the way across town for a grocery store where I'm gonna save $5, or I should just buy it next door here. That's like $5 more expensive. Like, you gotta think about time too, and then also like investing in courses. Like, if you want to learn a new skill, you go do a course online. Things like that. Like, it's so important, man. Like just invest in yourself because like at the end of the day, you're the machine, right? So you gotta be on 10 every day. You gotta you're the one that's gonna actually do these actions, right? So if you don't invest in yourself, nobody will, right? And if you don't invest in yourself, you're not gonna actually grow. Like I said earlier, you can trust someone else with their information or whatever, but you gotta, at the end of the day, I think it's safer to do things yourself and at least know what you're getting yourself into, things like that. So what do you think about, because we're done the questions, so I kind of want to just know, like, what do you think about, like, a lot of these TikTok influencers that, I don't know if you've seen any of them, like, the ones on maybe TikTok or Instagram, but most of them are always, like, on a vacation, and then they pull up their camera, right? They're like, hey guys, so I just made $500 today, sign up for my new course. I'm making like 10,000 every day, blah, 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 blah. Like, do you think most of those guys are capping? Like, is it real? Is it someone you should believe in? What do you think about them?
So they're definitely marketing, right? Like they're marketing themselves, they're marketing that they're successful and I can make you successful. Um, Ideally, you know, when it comes to wealth and having money, like people who know how hard it is to make money and how hard it is to protect your money, right? They don't really like show it off. They don't say like, oh, this is how much I have, this is how much I make, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't know who's listening, right? Someone can come after you and attack you and rob you. Um, like my personal opinion, right? Like I would rather have somebody teach me how to fish rather than them giving me the fish to eat, right? So yes, the courses are good, right? But ideally also like you want to be able to um, you want to be able to like obtain the knowledge yourself, right, through your own personal experience. Your question is like, do I believe them or do I trust them?
Yeah.
Or like, what do I generally think about them?
Yeah, generally. And like, do you think most of them are scammers or liars of their profits and stuff?
It really depends on the person, right? Like if you watch their video and you see how they speak and how they talk, then you can really make your own judgment, right? Based off that. There is a few people that I do follow, right? And I hear their tips. So I go off their tips, right? Like some of them have a course or that some of them have like a private Discord. I wouldn't mind, signing up for it and paying for it too, because like at the end of the day, information is not free, right? So there is bad information and good information, but I wouldn't say the challenge, but I would say what you have to tell yourself is like you have to be able to know how to tell between good information and bad information. So that's where like the challenge is, because like you truly never know until like you meet the person or you watch somebody or you finally join the Discord and then you get information. That's when you can tell yourself, okay, I was able to benefit from it or I was not able to benefit from it. But in terms of them being scammers, it's really hard to like say somebody's a scammer or somebody's fake until like you try it yourself. If it did not work, then it did not work. But if it works, then you just repeat and rinse.
Yeah.
Right? Because you only need one strategy at the end of the day.
And that's so true because, like he said, at the end of the day, you don't really know 100% of these, scammers or if they're not scammers until you really actually try their methods or whatever they're selling. So really, you can't really know for sure based on like a comment you see in the comment box, right? So at the end of the day, me too, what I've been seeing a lot is a lot of people online, they always complain like, oh, this guy's a scammer. Most of these influencers that, flash whatever they make, flash their wealth, flash the trips, the cars, whatever, most of those guys, they always have people in the comments saying they're scammers. So for me, I just don't know why over and over and over again people fall for it. Because I would say you should really do your research before you just sign up for someone's course or, just start watching them and believing everything, right? Do a little bit deeper research, in my opinion, because I do follow some guys too, on YouTube. Shout out to Larry Jones, Anton Daniels, Stocks with Josh, Investing Bros, Aristotle Investments. I think you know him.
Aristotle, that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Like with his course or his Discord, I think I would pay for it, just because like I like his teaching style, right? But no, for sure, there's a few good ones.
Facts. Yeah, really shout out to Aristotle, man. He's a young guy just doing his thing, going hard. And you can, I don't know, for me, you can tell who's really genuine and who's straight up. And he teaches in a very good way that you can learn simply. You know, he doesn't use any really big words like that. So shout out to him. Shout out to all those guys that just shouted out. So those are some guys I follow. We all start from somewhere. We all kind of have to follow someone in the beginning because we don't know everything, right? We're always constantly learning. So, yeah, I think that's the thing. And just do your own research, man. I think that's the biggest thing I find. So, yeah, do you have any closing, let's say, opinions or anything that's come up that you want to kind of share to anyone watching, like in terms of investing?
In terms of investing, like what I would say, like it's not like you get in and then you're good, you're set for life, right? It's ever changing, right? It's like the economy and the stock market, they'll work hand in hand. So if you want to get into it and also be successful in it, the one thing I would say, or the one thing that I'll let you know, is that it's a lifelong commitment, and you generally have to be on top of things, I would say week by week, right? Or month by month, staying top of the market, reading different articles, networking, meeting other people, learning different things. And yeah, it's something that you're gonna have to do forever. That's what I would say.
I love that. For me, I would say do what works for you, because it's not everything that works for everybody, and people have preferences. So I could be in crypto, he could be in stocks, guy next door could be in real estate. So do what works for you, and really just keep it simple, because that's what's been working for me. And I would never advocate for something that doesn't work for me for someone else, because I can't speak on that. And then also be patient, because a common theme that I've been learning, not just from me, but from other mentors and stuff, is just to be patient. And okay, the recording's still going. He just got a call. But yeah, just be patient, because it's a long game. And finally, lastly, just like he said, it's always changing. The market's always changing. Situations changing. The hot markets are changing. There's always the next hot thing. So always kind of be willing to adjust. Just like me, or like right now I'm heavy crypto, but I might switch back heavy into stocks soon, because crypto might go into a bear market, in my opinion. So yeah, I think that's all we got for you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and this was great, and to many more of these. So appreciate everybody. So peace out.